can be what you want to be. Be what you want to be. You just be what you want to be with me.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of Happy AF. My name is Sambowker, and I'm super pumped that you have decided to join me here today. I've got to just start by saying today I feel like a bit of a rock star, and I'll tell you why. I've got an audience. So when I fumble through today, I've gone from having one person to two people here. And I have to say that my internal critic was like, don't do it. Tell them to go outside. You can do this all by yourself. And then I thought, you know what? This is so uncomfortable. And because it's uncomfortable, I know that means growth. So I decided, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to rock and roll. I'm going to do it with an audience because this way I can only improve. So bear with me as I fumble my way through. I hope you still get some amazing content today. So I want to talk about embracing your fabulosity and your uniqueness, like your uniqueness, okay? The power of being able to get to a place in your life where you stop doing the whole comparison thing and where you just start embracing everything that is fabulous about you is the difference between you feeling good and always feeling like you come up short. And so I want to ask you, like, when you sort of wake up in a day, right, and you think to yourself, like, whatever it is you're going out in the world to do, okay, I believe that every person on the planet has something that is super important and a gift, a talent, like something that is, I guess, their, you know, if you want to use the word God-given talent or divine, inspired, purpose-led mission. I reckon everyone has that. And I think that when you find that thing that kind of makes your heart sing, everything in your life improves, right? You'll find that you fall into flow and you tend to manifest and create and call in the experiences that you want to have. And the number one thing that is going to stop you from being able to achieve that is when you go into comparison. And what I found is my entire life, I definitely have struggled with that. And I think some people have this like internal critic that is just way louder than other people. And I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's just the way we're born. I don't know if it's the way we've been raised. I don't even think it's important. But what I do know is that I was having a conversation this morning with a very dear friend and I was listening to her and she was so excited and she was sharing something that had been going on in her life. And what was beautiful about hearing the way that she spoke is that she was really stepping into all of the rainbow technicolor fabulosity that she is. She was embracing her you-ness, right? She was embracing the fact that she didn't need to be apologising for the fact that she was strong or that she, you know, had colourful opinions about things. She actually was embracing the fact that she's pretty fabulous and take me as I come or don't come at all, as they might say, right? And so it made me think that this was an important topic to talk about today because I know that if you can get to a place in your life where whatever it is you want to do, right? I'm not saying don't be guided, but whatever it is that you want to do, you stop measuring your success and you stop measuring your worth and you stop measuring whether you're doing okay against someone else's opinion of what you're doing, okay? And so this is a perfect example, this show, right? I started this show with an intention 6 months ago, and all I knew was that I wanted to do a show. I wanted to help people. I wanted to help people be happy AF. And, you know, it's grown the more that I think about it. It's about not just being happy AF, it's about being shiny AF. It's about being bright and, you know, fabulous and your you-ness, which means that, you know, no one can compare because the reality is there's a million podcasts out there. There's more than a billion podcasters out there. There's people that are writing their own shows, their vlogs, their videos, and the reality is that there's only one me, okay? So if you go out there and think to yourself today, what is it that I want to do that if I let go of other people's opinions and judgments, if I let go of what people thought of me, if I let go of, you know, comparison, what could I actually achieve? And doesn't matter if this person or that person doesn't love it. So when I was speaking to my girlfriend this morning and she was like shiny as fuck, she was so excited about where she was going and the story that she was creating for herself, like that just fills my cup up, which brings me to why I created this show, okay? To teach people to be unapologetically themselves, which is why today I've had the gift of going to my hair salon and getting my hair done, and then my girlfriend came and did my eyes, and now I've got a couple of people here sitting me watch this as I film this episode, and everything is uncomfortable, but I'm letting go of the judgment of myself and what they think, because I know that I can only do the best with the resources I've got in this moment. And I know that as I go through these episodes, they're going to get better, they're going to improve. I'm going to look at the things that I did or didn't like, and I'm going to go, okay, what can I do to improve that? But I'm not going to measure it against what someone else is doing, because no one's done this thing exactly like I'm doing it right now. So that really comes from that embracing of your uniqueness, okay? And so I want you to just stop for a moment, and I want you to think, what is it that you want to do in this world that you're stopping yourself from doing because you don't believe you deserve it? You don't believe you are good enough. You don't believe you're smart enough, worthy enough, pretty enough, intelligent enough, whatever the enoughness is. That word enough, I'll tell you a secret. Every single human being on the planet at some point struggles with whether they are enough. And I'll tell you a secret. You're already enough right now. You don't need to do anything else other than just show up today and do the best in every single way that you can. And the only way you know that you do that is if you stop comparing yourself to everybody else. So for a long time, I let that perfection part of me. I used to wear my perfection as a badge of honour. I used to walk around and say, I'm a perfectionist, I'm a perfectionist. And then I heard my good mate Brene Brown talk about the fact that perfection, not only is it the birthplace of anxiety, but it's that thing that we utilise as a way of stopping that fear of rejection. Because no one likes to feel rejected, okay? No one likes to feel like, whatever it is that they're doing is silly or not good. Like we like to feel liked and loved and accepted. We like to not be in a place where people are judging us, but everyone's judging you. From the second you wake up to when you go to bed, everywhere you go, you're going to be judged. But the biggest judge is you. So all you can do is sit back and go, okay, well, did I do my best today? Did I do the best I could with the resources I had? Yep, I did. Okay, cool. What am I measuring my success against? Am I measuring it based on somebody else's opinion, like external validation? Because if that's the way that you're rocking and rolling, then I'm telling you, you're never going to be happy, because there's always going to be someone that's going to have a judgment or an opinion of you. Can you take that criticism and that feedback, right, and understand that actually criticism is an opportunity for growth? And that takes practice again, right? And so I think when you really become unapologetically yourself, which is a process, right? You either are like my little girl who's 10, who walks around, and if you meet her, you would think, this kid is unapologetically her. She doesn't care what anybody thinks. She's got so much bravado. She's got, like you say to her, you're amazing. She goes, I know. And I wish in my heart, because I know that that's not actually how she feels. She's just got this mask on, and my goal is to help her feel like that. But imagine if we could just think that. Imagine if when someone says to you, you're awesome, you could go, I know, and really believe it. Imagine someone says to you, do you know what? You're really an amazing human being. That work you did is just so awesome. Imagine if you just actually took them at their face value and you believed in yourself enough to go, thank you. Now, most human beings on the planet, we've been raised from a pretty early age to not be too stuck up, not think too much of ourselves, not be too selfish. So we've got all of these preconceived thoughts and ideas and processes that we go through in our own head, and rules, in fact, like rules that we have made up for how we should experience things. Be really amazing, but not too amazing. Shine bright, but don't shine too bright, because if you shine too bright, people will think you're stuck up. Have a look at the narratives that are constantly going on inside your head. What is your internal dialogue? Is it, why would they want to hear from me? Or, I'm amazing, why wouldn't they want to hear from me? Because this is something that I spend a lot of time working on. And I've got to tell you, I don't believe that anyone doesn't have this critic. I think we all have it. So what does your critic say? Is your critic kind? Is your critic saying to you, you're amazing, you're awesome, you freaking rock? Is your critic saying to you, who do you think you are? No one really wants to hear what you've got to say. Oh my God, seriously? Like, what are you thinking? So this morning when I got up and I was thinking, what did I want to share today? I really like to be guided by the things that are coming up in my day, right? The people that I'm sharing time with and the things that, the experiences that I'm having and what is going to be of most value. So I'm always asking that question. And this morning when I got up, and I've had such an amazing morning. I got up early, I did my training, got to talk to my sister, I got my hair done, now hanging out with a few friends. I'm going to catch up with some more friends this afternoon. And I've noticed that everything seems to be falling into place for me right now, right? I seem to be at the right place at the right time. I seem to be meeting the right people that can help me on this journey that I'm creating for myself. And I think it's because I've finally let go of worrying about the opinions and judgments of others, and more importantly, embracing my uniqueness and then saying, hey, this is what I'm called to do. How can I help you become the best version of you? How can I help you embrace your uniqueness? How can I help you start tapping into that, that fabulosity that's already inside of you and encourage you and inspire you to go out into the world and shine bright, be shiny as fuck, happy as fuck, unapologetically you. I'd love to hear from you guys. Like if there is something that, that little whisper inside your head, that little dream that you have at night when no one is listening and you think to yourself, gee, I wish I could be this, or I wish I could do that. Because these little ideas that come to you, these little thoughts, they might just be a whisper. They might be a bit louder. They might be screaming at you. Ask yourself, what is it that stops you from taking the action? Because those little whispers and those little ideas, they wouldn't come to you if you didn't have the capacity and ability to go out and create. So what I'm doing now and this little show and everything that I do in my life, it all started with a thought process. And I've worked on the confidence and I've worked on the skill set, and I'm now starting to back myself because I know that I can't keep looking outside of myself to create what I want to create. I already know what it is. At some point I just have to throw caution to the wind, back myself and go, you know what? I don't know how it's going to work out, but if I have this vision and I keep calling on this vision and keep pointing towards this vision and trusting that I wouldn't have this thought if it wasn't meant to happen, then that's all I can do. So I want to finish actually by sharing a story about the book Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, which is where I guess this little concept, that I talked about with these ideas and the whisper. And I read this book, Big Magic, right? And Elizabeth Gilbert talks about these little ideas. They're like entities, and they float around, and they're like little magical entities, and they float around trying to find someone to help them come into reality. And so they plant themselves on people, and you might hear it like a whisper, and you hear it like it might just be a feeling or a sensation, and they'll harass you for a little while. But if you don't go and take action with that little idea, at some point that idea is going to get sick of annoying you, and it's going to go and find somebody else, and it's going to plant the seed somewhere else. And the reason they do that is because these ideas want to come into fruition. And you'll know this has happened because I bet you if you ask yourself, or if you sit back and reflect for a moment, you will notice that there's been ideas you've had that you never had the courage or self-belief to act on, and then you saw it happen somewhere else. And you were like, hey, that was my idea. That used to happen to me all the time. Since I read that book a few years ago, I realised that now when I get those ideas, it's not that someone else stole my idea, it's that the idea got sick of knocking on my door. I need to have me keep the door shut or slam it in its face. So I want you to ask yourself tonight, my question for you to sit there when you go to sleep tonight is, what is that little idea you've got or big idea that you've got that you're not taking action on? And if you just trusted in your magic, trusted in your uniqueness, trusted in your inner fabulosity, and had faith that you had the capacity to go out there and do whatever it is that you put your mind to, what is the idea that you would be birthing into the world tomorrow that could potentially be something pretty magical in your life? I'd love to hear what you guys have got to say. Feel free to chuck us a comment, send me a message. I'd love to hear what you guys are thinking right now. If you haven't read that book by Elizabeth Gilbert, Big Magic, it is highly recommended. It's one of my favourite books. And on that note, people, embrace your fabulosity, go out, shine bright, be happy AF. I love you guys. Have an awesome day. Big hugs.